Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you all are doing well. As you all know, I can't shoot film right now, which sucks because that is the bulk of my content, but I'm still trying to bring you as much content in many different shapes or forms, and I thought it would be perfect to give you a little breakdown in Photoshop of how I made this album art. Super simple album art. You don't need a lot of skill or experience to achieve this. I personally am not that great in Photoshop, but I know some little tricks to make your art stand out as opposed to just slapping some text on a blank background. So I'll turn off all the layers here for you so you can kind of see the process, and I'll try and explain it as best as I can. I didn't actually screen record it as I was making it, but I'll try and walk you through the steps. We first start off with this rectangle. You can just grab the rectangle tool, drag it over your artboard, and pick your color of choice. Now I'm going to delete this just so the layers stay clean, and I put the blending mode to multiply. You can test a lot of different blending modes. I don't really know how each one affects the layer, but then I threw this texture underneath. You can just go on Google and search up texture overlay and kind of mess around with the blending modes with different textures, and it just adds some dynamic elements to the artwork. I grabbed this other texture overlay that kind of gives it that diagonal pattern, let's say, and I set it to luminosity. And you can, like I said, you can test out a bunch of different blending modes. I like the way luminosity looks, so I just left it as is, and you can get pretty creative with different overlays, but it's all personal preference really. So I'll pull up the fonts here. I downloaded this font off dafont.com, DAFONT.com, and you can filter fonts that are 100% free. And this font, I believe, was called In My Head. So obviously I typed up the title of the track and the artists that are involved in the track, and this is where you can really kind of mess around with different text filters. But what I did was, for the title, is I added some wind. That's got to be like my favorite effect, and you can mess around with it. Blast is pretty cool too, but it's kind of hard to read. So for this purpose I just put wind, and you can put what direction you want it to go from. I'm just gonna cancel that because I already have wind on there, and if you keep adding the same effect, it will just be more extreme. So then I duplicated the layer, press V, and then hold the Option, click and drag, and that will just duplicate that for you. And then I go back into filter and I use the blur tool. I use motion blur, and that kind of gives it, obviously, motion blur, and you can get really creative with this too, like depending on what direction, how extreme you want it to be. I couldn't really get it exactly how I had it in the art, but this is kind of just to show you, the steps that I took to achieve the final result. I liked how I did it originally better, so I'm just going to turn that back on, but kind of just to show you how I got to that step. So I did the exact same thing for the parental advisory logo. I just duplicated it, added some motion blur, and then put the blurry one on the background of the regular version, let's call it. Did the exact same thing for the artists and the and essentially that's it. It's super simple. Like I said, I am no Photoshop guru, but I have accumulated some little tricks to just step it up from your classic album art that is just plain text background, or plain background, excuse me, with just text. And I did forget to mention that the dimensions are 1080 by 1080, which is your 1x1 square for album art. Let me know what you thought of the video. Maybe try it out yourself. You can make an album art for a song that already exists and just kind of learn some new skills in the process. That's what I plan on doing during this time that I have, as well as bringing you guys as much valuable content as possible. So let me know what that might look like. Let me know what you want to see, but that is all from me today. I'm going to try my best in live stream. I've been having some technical issues over there, but we'll see you in an upcoming video.